return of the new year, we should probably do a facts video as quickly as possible. So tonight we're going to be slowly whispering some random facts to hopefully help you get some rest or some sleep. So I won't waffle on anymore. Let's get into them. A cloud weighs around 1 million tons. A cloud typically has a volume of around 1 kilometre cubed and a density of around 1.003 kilograms per metre cubed. That's a density that's around 0.4% lower than the air surrounding it. That's how they're able to float. Giraffes are 30 times more likely to get hit by lightning than people. True, there are only 5 well-documented fatal lightning strikes on giraffes between 1996 and 2010, but due to the population of the species being just 140,000 during this time, it makes for about 0.003 lightning deaths per 1,000 giraffes. This is 30 times the equivalent fatality rate for humans. Identical twins don't have the same fingerprints. This is because environmental factors during development in the womb impact your fingerprint. Earth's rotation is changing speed. It's actually slowing. This means that the length of a day increases by around 1.8 seconds per century. 600 million years ago, a day lasted just 21 hours. Your brain is constantly eating itself. This process is called phagocytosis, where cells envelop and consume smaller cells or molecules to remove them from the system. Don't worry, phagocytosis isn't harmful but actually helps preserve your grey matter. The largest piece of fossilized dinosaur poo discovered is over 30 centimeters long and over 2 liters in volume. It is believed to be a T-Rex turd. The universe's average colour is called cosmic latte. In a 2002 study, astronomers found that the light coming from galaxies averaged into a beige colour that's close to white. Water might not be wet. This is because most scientists define wetness as a liquid's ability to maintain contact with a solid surface, meaning that water itself is not wet, but can make other objects wet. A chicken once lived for 18 months without a head. Mike the chicken's incredible feat was recorded back in the 1940s in the USA. He survived as his jugular vein and most of his brainstem were left mostly intact, ensuring just enough brain function remained for survival. In the majority of cases, a headless chicken dies in a matter of minutes. All of the world's bacteria stacked on top of each other would stretch for 10 billion light years. Wearing a tie can reduce blood flow to your brain by 7.5%. Right, am I going to try and read this one? I mean, it doesn't even fit on my webpage and I can't scroll across, but the fear of long words is called Hippopotamonstrosiquipedalia, and it finishes assume there's a little bit more. The 36-letter word was first used by the Roman poet Horace in the 1st century BCE to criticize those writers with an unreasonable penchant for long words. There you go. The world's oldest living dog lived to 29.5 years old. While the median age a dog reaches tends to be about 10 to 15 years, one Australian cattle dog named Bluey survived to 29.5. And the world's oldest cat lived to 38 years and 3 days old. Green Buff was the oldest cat to ever live. The sun makes a sound, but we can't hear it. In the form of pressure waves, the sun does make a sound. The wavelength of the pressure waves come from the sun is measured in hundreds of miles, however, meaning they are far beyond the range of human hearing. Mount Everest isn't the tallest mountain on Earth. Mauna Kea and Mauna Loa in Hawaii, the twin volcanoes, are taller than Mount Everest due to 4.2 kilometers of their heights being submerged underwater. The twin volcanoes measure a staggering 10.2 kilometers in total, compared to Everest's paltry 4.6. Octopuses don't actually have tentacles. They have 8 limbs, but their arms. Technically, when talking about cephalopods, octopuses, squids, etc., scientists define tentacles as limbs with suckers at their end. Octopus arms have suckers down most of their length. Most maps of the world are wrong. On most maps, the Mercator projection, first developed in 1569, is still used. This method is wildly inaccurate and makes Alaska appear as large as Brazil, and Greenland 14 times larger than it actually is. For a map to be completely accurate, it would need to be life-size and round, not flat. Comets smell like rotten eggs. A comet smells like rotten eggs, urine, burning matches, and almonds. Traces of hydrogen sulfide, ammonia, sulfur dioxide, and hydrogen cyanide were all found in the makeup of the comet 67P Churyumov-Gerasimenko. Promotional postcards were even commissioned in 2016 carrying the pungent scent of a comet. Earth's poles are moving. This magnetic reversal of the North and South Pole has happened 171 times in the past 71 million years. We're overdue a flip. It could come soon as the North Pole is moving at around 55 kilometers per year, an increase over the 15 kilometers per year up until 1990. You can actually die laughing, and a number of people have, typically due to intense laughter causing a heart attack or suffocation. Comedy shows should come with a warning. Chainsaws were first invented for childbirth. This can't be true, surely. It was developed in Scotland in the late 18th century to help aid and speed up the process of symphysiotomy, widening the pubic cartilage, and removal of disease-laden bone during childbirth. It wasn't until the start of the 20th century that we started using chainsaws for wood chopping. is 20.6 decibels. These anechoic chambers are built out of heavy concrete and brick and are mounted on springs to stop vibrations from getting in through the floor. A horse normally has more than 1 horsepower. A study in 1993 showed that the maximum power a horse can produce is 18,000 watts, around 24 horsepower. Your signature could reveal personality traits. A study in 2016 purports that among men a large signature correlates with higher social bravado, and among women a bigger signature correlates with narcissistic traits. 1 in 18 people have a third nipple. There's no such thing as a straight line. Zoom in close enough to anything and you'll spot irregularities. Even a laser light beam is slightly curved. Deaf people are known to use sign language in their sleep. Finland is the happiest country on earth. According to the World Happiness Report, it has been for 6 years in a row. It's not really surprising given that Finland is the home of Santa Claus, reindeer, and 1 sauna for every 1.59 people. Hippos can't swim. Hippos really do have big bones, so big and dense in fact that they're barely buoyant at all. They don't swim and instead perform a slow motion gallop on the riverbed or on the seafloor. In fact, hippos can even sleep underwater, thanks to a built-in reflex that allows them to bob up, take a breath, and sink back down without waking. The moon looks upside down in the southern hemisphere. Compared to the northern hemisphere, anyway. This means that the man in the moon is upside down in the southern hemisphere and looks more like a rabbit. You can yo-yo in space. In 2012, NASA astronaut Don Petit took a yo-yo on board the International Space Station and demonstrated several tricks. It works because a yo-yo mainly relies on the laws of conservation of angular momentum to perform tricks, which, provided you keep the string taut, apply in microgravity too. Not only plants photosynthesize, algae, which are not plants, and some other organisms including sea slugs and bee aphids, contain chlorophyll and can also take sunlight and turn it into an energy source. You can be heavily pregnant and not realize. Cryptic pregnancies aren't that uncommon, with 1 in 500 not recognized until at least halfway through, and 1 in 2,500 not known until labour starts. Gosh, new fear unlocked. Not for me, obviously, but my partner. Bacteria on your skin causes your itches. Specifically, bacteria known as Staphylococcus aureus can release a chemical that activates a protein in our nerves. This sends a signal from our skin to our brains, which our brain perceives as an itch. Starfish don't have bodies. Along with other echinoderms, was constipated for 45 days. In 2013, an unfortunate Indian woman had to undergo surgical removal of a fecal mass as large as a football. She's got to be lying there. I reckon she's full of shit. You travel 2.5 million kilometers a day around the sun without realizing. Fish form orderly queues in emergencies. When evacuating through narrow spaces in sketchy situations, schools of neon tetrafish queue so that they don't collide or clog up the line. Scientists interpreted this behavior as showing that fish can respect social rules, even in emergency situations, unlike us humans. Most ginger cats are male. There are roughly 3 ginger male cats to 1 ginger female. This is because the ginger gene is found on the X chromosome, meaning female cats would require 2 copies of the gene to become ginger, whilst males only need 1. Your fingernails grow faster in hot summer. Insects can fly up to 3.25 kilometers above sea level, at least. Alpine bumblebees have been found living as high up as 3.25 kilometers above sea level, and could even fly in lab conditions that replicate the air density and oxygen levels at 9 kilometers. That's just higher than Mount Everest. There's a planet mostly made from diamond, called 55 Cancri E. It's around twice the size of Earth and some 40 light years away from us within the Cancer constellation. Animals can be allergic to humans. Animals can be allergic to our dead skin cells, dander. These allergic reactions can be just like ours too, including breathing difficulties and skin irritation. Platypuses sweat milk. This is because it doesn't have teats. Milk appears as sweat on a platypus, but it's an aquatic mammal, so it doesn't actually sweat at all. Martial artists who smile before the start of a match are more likely to lose. This could be as a smile can convey fear or submissiveness. I don't know if there's a study to back that up. It's almost impossible to get too much sugar from fresh fruit. While the sugar in fruit is mostly fructose and glucose, you can't get too much sugar from fresh fruit. Fresh fruit contains a lot of fibre and water, which slows down your digestion and makes you feel full. You don't like the sound of your own voice because of the bones in your head. This may be because the bones in our head make our voice sound deeper. A rainbow on Venus is called a glory. Protons look like peanuts, rugby balls, bagels, and spheres. They come in all different shapes and sizes, with their appearance changing based on the speed of smaller particles within them. Mirrors facing each other don't produce infinite reflections. Each reflection will be darker than the last and eventually fade into invisibility. Mirrors absorb a fraction of the energy of the light striking them. The total number of reflections mirrors can produce a few hundred. psychopathy, whatever, can be cured by cognitive behavioral therapy, which is said to reduce violent offences by those with the condition. Preliminary research suggests that computer-based cognitive training could help a psychopath experience empathy and regret too. All mammals get goosebumps. When your hair stands on end, tiny muscles contract at each hair's base, which distorts the skin to create goosebumps. This process is called piloerection and is present in all mammals. Hair or fur is used to trap an insulating air layer. Football players spit so much because exercise increases the amount of protein in saliva. Some animals display autistic-like traits. Autistic traits in animals include a tendency toward repetitive behavior and atypical social habits. The biggest butterfly in the world has a wingspan of 31 centimeters. It belongs to the Queen Alexandra's birdwing butterfly, which you can find in the forests of the Oro province in the east of Papua New Guinea. You remember more dreams when you sleep badly. Research suggests that if you sleep badly and wake up multiple times throughout the night, you will be more likely to recall the content of any dreams you had. You are also more likely to remember a dream when woken from one. A lightning bolt is 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun. The charge carried by a bolt of lightning is so intense that it has a temperature of 30,000 degrees Celsius or 54,000 degrees Fahrenheit. The longest anyone has held their breath underwater is over 24.5 minutes. The world record for breath holding underwater was achieved by Croatian Budimir Sobat on 27th of March 2021, who held his breath for a total of 24 minutes and 37 seconds. On average, a human can hold their breath between 30 and 90 seconds. The moon is shrinking, but only very slightly, by about 50 meters in radius over the last several 100 million years. Mysterious seismic activity known as moonquakes could be to blame. Dogs tilt their heads when you speak to them to better pinpoint familiar words. Your dog is tilting its head when you speak to it to pinpoint where noises are coming from more quickly. This is done to listen out more accurately for familiar words such as walkies, and helps them to better understand the tone of your voice. If a dog doesn't tilt its head that often, it's because it relies less on sound and more on sight. If the earth doubled in size, trees would immediately fall over. This is because surface gravity would be doubled. It would also mean dog size and larger animals would not be able to run without breaking a leg. Flamingos aren't born pink. They actually come into the world with grey/white feathers and only develop a pinkish hue after starting a diet of brine shrimp and blue-green algae. You can smell ants. Many species of ants release strong-smelling chemicals when they're angry, threatened, or being squished. Trapjaw ants release a chocolatey smell when annoyed, while citronella ants earn their name from the lemony odour they give off. The oldest living animal on Earth is is a 192-year-old tortoise named Jonathan. The hardest bone in the human body is the femur. A group of owls is called a parliament. The deepest part of the ocean is approximately 35,876 feet down. A silverback gorilla can lift over 1,763 pounds. Winds on Neptune can blow faster than 1,200 miles an hour. Salvador Dali designed the logo for the Chupa Chups lollipop brand. The Caesar salad was invented in 1924. The sun is approximately 400 times larger than the moon. The average person blinks 14 to 17 times per minute. 90% of the world's population lives in the northern hemisphere. Central Park in New York City is larger than the entire country of Monaco. Cuvier's beaked whales can hold their breath underwater for over 2 hours. The average golf ball has 336 dimples. Over 60% of the world's lakes are located in Canada. The International Space Station orbits Earth approximately every 90 minutes. Somewhere between 50% and 80% of Earth's living organisms are in the ocean. Venus is the only planet to spin clockwise. Allodoxophobia is the fear of other people's opinions. Human teeth are the only part of the body that cannot heal themselves. Competitive art used to be an Olympic sport. The specks on strawberries are single seeds called achenes or achenes. The first person processed at Ellis Island was a 15-year-old girl from Ireland. Google Images was created after Jennifer Lopez wore the green dress at the 2000 Grammys. Lemons float in water, but limes sink. The Eiffel Tower was originally made for Barcelona. It would take 19 minutes to fall to the center of the Earth. The Venus flytrap is considered a carnivorous plant and eat insects for nutrients. The real name for a hashtag is an octothorpe. Neil Armstrong's hair was sold in 2004 for $3,000. English word is 189,819 letters long. How is that true? The tiny pocket in jeans was designed to store pocket watches. People once ate arsenic to improve their skin. The largest bowling alley in Japan has 116 lanes. It's the largest bowling alley in the world. The script for the original Terminator was sold for $1. Penicillin was first called mold juice. The first commercial passenger flight lasted only 23 minutes. There are 8 NFL teams currently without cheerleaders. No number before 1000 contains the letter A. Sudan has more pyramids than any country in the world. The Pope can't be an organ donor. Tug of war was in the Olympics from 1900 to 1920. The world's longest concert lasted 453 hours. Africa is the only continent in all 4 hemispheres. Japan has 1 vending machine for every 40 people. Cleopatra was born in Egypt, but comes from Macedonian descent. McDonald's once made bubblegum flavoured broccoli. Frida Kahlo painted 55 self-portraits. Avocados are actually fruits, not vegetables. The shortest war in history was the Anglo-Zanzibar War. It lasted 38 minutes. NFL Super Bowl referees also get Super Bowl rings. It's illegal to own only 1 guinea pig in Switzerland. Only 4 countries in the world have national anthems with no lyrics. The letter Q doesn't appear in any American state's name. Walt Disney currently holds the most Academy Awards at a lifetime total of 26. The Paris catacombs hold the remains of over 6 million people. Bottlenose dolphins are the only other species to have names for themselves. And our final fact of the video is all clownfish are born male and can become female later in life. And that is going to do it for tonight's video. Hopefully you learned something new, and if you didn't, well, firstly, you're very intelligent, and secondly, I hope you still found it relaxing and helped you get some rest, relaxation, or best case scenario, sleep. If you did enjoy this this video and you're able to, please do give it a like and subscribe if you're new to the channel.